Greetings, fellow geeks, nerds, and everybody alike. Welcome back to another video. Today, we're taking a look at another computer. This is a Dell Inspiron 1521 from around like 2008 or maybe even 2007. This laptop is special because I had one of these as my daily driver when I was in middle school. And honestly, it was one of the worst laptops I had ever owned. Mainly for two reasons. One, it was in horrible physical condition. It was basically passed down to me by my stepmother. The laptop itself was still functional, but like just cosmetically, it was rough. The laptop had been dropped by one of my stepbrothers twice. The hinges were giving up. And unfortunately, one of my stepbrothers also got a hold of the laptop and decided to rip off a good majority of the keys off the keyboard. And the second reason why it was the worst laptop I ever had, it ran probably one of the worst operating systems known to man, Windows Vista. Now, I did a video about Windows Vista way back in the early days of this channel. I'd say back in like 2020, maybe 2021. And I mentioned in that video that going back to Windows Vista actually wasn't as painful as I remember. But only because I was running a fully updated version of Windows Vista up to Service Pack 2. And by that point, Windows Vista was surprisingly usable. But of course, no one really cared at that point because by that time in 2009, Windows 7 was just right around the corner. So a lot of people instantly just ditched Windows Vista for Windows 7 when that came out. And for some reason, I have no idea why, but when I had one of these running Windows Vista, I couldn't get it to update to any service packs, no matter what I tried. So, unfortunately, in my middle school years, I got to suffer through vanilla RTM Windows Vista with no service packs whatsoever. Maybe a few security updates here and there, but yeah, for the most part, it was just straight up the original version of Windows Vista, and it was atrocious. But yet, I was still perfectly fine using it as my daily driver. So, minus a few... Hi, Ginger. My in-laws are visiting, so they brought their dog, so... You want to get in on the shot? Hi. Oh, yes, hello. So, minus a few bugs and glitches and crashes here and there, yeah, I pretty much used that laptop from about 2010 up to about 2015 or so. And then something terrible happened. So, I had an idea of trying to forcibly update my Windows Vista install to Service Pack 1 and then eventually Service Pack 2. And I completely botched the attempt to get it to update and pretty much corrupted the entire install. At that point, I had enough of the laptop. So that was the final nail in the coffin. Yes, I probably could have fixed it up and even installed Windows 7 on it, but at that point, I was just sick of it and just wanted to get rid of it. So I ended up parting it out, taking the rest to recycling, and then I actually didn't end up getting another laptop until I started college in 2016, where they gave me a school laptop that had Windows 10 installed. And that school laptop, compared to what I was used to with the Dell Inspiron, was like a night and day difference. Which brings us to this specific laptop. So, I found this laptop on Mercari for $15, and I've been wanting to do a video like this for a while, so when I saw this for that price on there, I knew I just had to take it. They pretty much sold it as untested, so I have no idea if it even works. We'll have to figure that out on our own. But in terms of just physical condition, it's actually not too bad. My old laptop had like that soft touch rubber material on the front of it. And I'm surprised that with this one, it's still perfectly fine. Usually with that soft touch rubber with computers around this age, the material starts to break down and gets really, really sticky. But it doesn't look like that's happened with this one, luckily. So, looks like we've got media controls on the front. We have an express card slot. Definitely don't see that on modern laptops. Oh, it's got the little blank in there too. I guess they never actually used that. Looks like our hard drive also goes in there. We've got headphone and microphone jack, cooling vent, a Wi-Fi switch, Kensington lock. We have a dial-up connection, oddly enough. I would have thought by like 2007 to 2008, like that would have just been ancient. But I guess it probably would have been useful if you had like a fax machine hooked up to this. And then we've got our battery. Have no idea if it's still working. My guess is probably not. AC power, USB. We've got a TV connection, which kind of looks like an S-video port, but I don't think that's the case. It must be one of those proprietary, like, breakout box connectors. Because I know that some Dell laptops did do that at the time. And we've got two more USB, Ethernet, VGA. We've got FireWire, SD card slot, and DVD drive. No HDMI, though. At least at this time when this laptop first came out, like, HDMI did exist on laptops, but it was usually seen on, like, the high end of things. This was definitely a low to mid-range laptop, so I'm not surprised that it doesn't have that. The inside is surprisingly clean, for the most part. There's a few blemishes here and there. So if I'm remembering correctly, this thing has some pretty similar specs to the one that I had. It's got a dual-core AMD Athlon 64X2 processor, either 1 or 2 gigabytes of DDR2 memory. I want to say the resolution of this screen was like 1280 by 800, I think. And I don't know if there's a hard drive in there right now. At least the one that I had at the time, it had an 80 gigabyte hard drive, because the original hard drive, which was like 100 gigabytes, ended up dying when one of my stepbrothers dropped the laptop. So they replaced it with an 80 gigabyte hard drive, and I remember that hard drive was starting to have some issues around the time that I ended up getting rid of it. I still have the original 80 gigabyte hard drive for that laptop. I already got pretty much all the data backed up on this thing, so if this thing doesn't have a hard drive already, I think we might actually end up using this. I believe the hard drive is dying because it was making some really strange noises when I was backing up data on this. And I haven't powered on this drive in like 3 to 4 years, so I have no idea if it still works. But hey, we might have to try it anyway. So this didn't come with a power adapter, but luckily I did have one lying around that should hopefully work with this laptop. It'll also give us an opportunity to see if that battery is still good or not. Considering the age of this laptop, I am not very hopeful that it's gonna hold the charge anymore. Plugging in power. Oh, got a power light. Hey, nice. Okay, it looks like that CMOS battery is dead. So let's just go into the BIOS. My God, that screen is not very good. It's glossy and looks actually kind of dim for some reason. But like just in the middle. I don't know why. Well, hopefully you can see it well enough. So Inspiron 1521, BIOS version A02, 720 of 2007. That's probably the original BIOS that shipped with this laptop. We've got our dual-core Athlon 64X2, clocked at 1.8 gigahertz. We've got 2 gigs of DDR2 memory. And I think I read somewhere that this will take up to 4 gigs. Device info. Oh, we do have a hard drive. Okay. Sweet. We'll have to see if it's wiped or not. I hope it is. We've got that DVD RW drive. We've got a ATI Radeon Express 1270 graphics chip. I remember that being pretty mediocre. 1280 by 800 resolution screen. Sigmatel audio controller. Got Wi-Fi. We don't have cellular or Bluetooth. Battery not installed. So I'm guessing that means that the battery is completely gone. Date and time is obviously incorrect since the CMOS battery was dead. Module bay device. I don't know what that is. Because I know that some like Dell Latitude laptops had something kind of like that, where the optical drive was hot swappable, but I don't think this has the feature of doing that. Okay, let's try increasing the brightness. Oh, there's a BIOS password? Why? Okay, I'll probably have to replace the CMOS battery in order to change any of this. Power now! I have no idea what this does. It looks like it's an AMD thing, so I'm guessing it's probably like a power saver feature of that AMD processor. And of course, it's not going to let me load the defaults either since the BIOS is locked. Let's try booting this thing and see if that hard drive is wiped or not. Oh shit. It's not. Yeah, they didn't wipe this thing at all. Either that or they just put like a factory install of Windows Vista. I'm hoping it's the latter. Because, yeah, I'm going to have to take out that hard drive and wipe it if there's still personal files on it. It's taking an awfully long time to load. Oh my god, that trackpad is terrible. Literally one of the only... Oh, shit. Yeah, there is still stuff on this. Yeah, I'm not going to show this. Yeah, I'm definitely going to have to either wipe the hard drive or plop in the extra 80 gig that I have. Erase your personal files off of your old computers, people. Also, not entirely sure why, but apparently the battery is charging. Even though it said that it didn't have one originally. Okay, strange. Just open this thing up because I want to get to the CPU and replace the thermal paste, as well as cleaning that fan. My god, that is dirty. Just at a glance, I'm guessing this thing has probably never been opened. I remember on my old one, when I took apart my laptop for the first time because it was like overheating, I cleaned the fan as well as the heatsink, and there was like giant clumps of dust that was blocking the vent. So I looked at that and I'm like, oh, well, yeah, that's why it's overheating. We've got 2 RAM slots. One is on the back of the board and the other one is right here. All right, let's see how bad the thermal paste is. Oh, come on. Come on. Oh, that's not terrible. I was expecting worse. And look at that, the CPU is also socketed. You definitely don't see that on laptops anymore. Oh, dear Lord. Yep, that's exactly what mine looked like. Wow, that is a lot of dust. Oh boy, yeah, we're definitely gonna have to clean that. That is gross. So I'm gonna do some cleaning both inside and out, and then we'll hopefully be able to install a fresh copy of Windows Vista. So for accuracy's sake, and because I feel like being a dick to myself, we're gonna install vanilla Windows Vista. No service packs whatsoever. I always found this boot up screen for Windows Vista kind of boring because like there's no logo whatsoever. There's just Microsoft Corporation and then a very generic looking loading bar. Yeah, it's not spinning the disk anymore. Sorry if you can hear that noise in the background. I'm installing a game on my PS3. All I'm seeing is the hard drive light is like solid. So then, like, what the hell is it doing? That is the original 80 gig drive that I had, so... And I did say it was on its way out, so I should not be surprised that we're having some issues right now. I'm just going to let this thing go until it figures out what the hell it's doing. Oh, there we go. God, that took a long time. I don't know why. So we want English. Next. Install now. Oh, I don't have a product key, but there is the COA on the bottom of the laptop. I might take a screenshot of that and maybe see if that'll work. I highly doubt it, since this is just a generic Windows Vista ISO. It's not like a Dell OEM version. All right, let's give it a try. Oh, it just worked. Alrighty then. Cool. Yeah, I totally read all your 2007 license terms. Totally read all that. I'm a fast reader. So we've got the recovery partition, the primary OS partition, and then something called Media Direct, which is only 2.5 gigs in size. I want to say that is like a special, like, media focused mode that some of these Dell laptops shipped with at the time, because there's a home button right next to the power button, and it did mention something about Dell Media Direct when it was booting up. I'm guessing it's probably some like stripped down Linux kernel that basically like strips the system all the way down to like DVD playback functionality. So we'll keep that, and we're ready to install. All right. This will only take 3 to 5 business days. All done. Restart. Please wait a moment while Windows prepares to start for the first time. I wish you didn't. It's okay, take your time. I am perfectly fine with you delaying this video. God, installing this operating system is almost as agonizing as using it. Oh. That was weird. It's like, hey, I heard that. Well, while this finishes up, it'll be a good opportunity to track down the drivers for this thing. I'm just going to go do that right now. And now we're at a blank screen. And there's no hard drive activity at all. Great. Oh, there it goes. Okay, I thought we froze for a moment there. I would have been so pissed if we had to do this all over again. And back to a blank screen again. I won't question it at this point. We're going to call this Dell Inspiron. Password. Nah, we don't need a password. We're insecure like that. Let's see. I want the robot. Yeah. Oh, we can choose our background too? Huh. I don't think any other Windows installation lets you do that. I'll adjust that date and time later, because, yeah, that CMOS battery is completely flat. And it's one of those where it's like a wire that actually plugs into the motherboard versus the actual coin cell battery going into a socket. So I'm going to have to order one of those. Thank you. No, Windows Vista. Thank you for giving me some of the worst computing experiences of my adolescent years. Getting it done just got more fun. Yeah, right. Not if you're using Windows Vista. No one's going to want to connect and communicate with you if you run Windows Vista. Are you out of your mind? Nope, I don't think so. The power to infuriate any user. You gotta be shitting me. Turn everyday moments. I was reading that. Literally the only thing I like about Windows Vista is that it's got a beautiful startup. And plus, just like overall, it looks pretty. But that's kind of where it ends. Everything else is absolutely infuriating. And here we are to the desktop. Oh, I forgot about the sidebar. I totally forgot about that. So that was like a new feature that they added to Windows Vista. And I want to say they also carried it over to Windows 7. It's a nice idea on paper, but I remember this sidebar being really, really taxing on resources. And also, apparently, a security exploit. Crazy, right? Which is why they pretty much did away with it after Windows 7. Let's install some drivers here quick. I will be back momentarily. All right, we got drivers and applications installed. Everything is all ready to go. One thing I did notice while setting this thing up is it really does not like doing more than one task at a time. That may just be due to the hard drive. Like, for example, I was installing a game and I also wanted to transfer over some files from my flash drive to this thing, and it did not enjoy that at all. It slowed to a crawl. But that doesn't matter because we got everything all set up. So I think we're going to start with running some benchmarks on this thing and see what it can do. Starting with 3D Mark 2001, I think we're just going to run it at default settings, 1024 by 768. I know for sure it is not going to be able to handle the native resolution of this laptop screen. And here we go. Huh. That is oddly worse than what I was expecting. We're only able to hit like up to the 50s. And most of the time it remains in like the 30s and 40s. Oh boy. Oh my god. Why is this so bad? Why is this so bad? I remember like older games that ran on Windows Vista actually ran decently on the graphics that this thing has, which is a ATI Radeon Express, I think 1720. But I remember it being able to play older games perfectly fine. Yeah, this is not good. So it looks like we achieved a score of 3970. And that was only at 1024 by 768, so I don't know why we were having such bad performance. I think if we lowered the resolution, it would have done a lot better. All right, let's move on to 3D Mark 2003. Oh my god. User account controls. I forgot about this. So this was a new feature added with Windows Vista, and supposedly it's supposed to add an extra layer of security when running applications. The problem is this dialog box comes up literally almost every single time you run anything on Windows Vista. It is so freaking annoying. And then we have weird stuff like this happening. I don't know why it does this. For some reason, I don't know if it's just this specific laptop or just Windows Vista in general. It'll switch. Oh, lovely. So we're not going to run 3D Mark 2003 then. Never mind. But anyways, when you're running a older application, it'll actually switch to the Windows Vista basic theme and turn off the arrow theme for supposedly better compatibility. I don't really know. How about 3D Mark 2005 then? Goddamn user account controls. Oh, Jesus. Why does this keep happening? It's like somewhere along the way, when switching from arrow to basic theme, like just shit breaks for some reason. I don't know why. Huh. 3D Mark 2005 doesn't work either. Well, what the hell? Well, I guess we're not even going to bother with the other 3D Mark benchmarks that I have, mainly because that keeps happening. And also this graphics chip only supports up to DirectX 9 and just barely. And sometimes it even struggles with the arrow theme of Windows Vista too. I was also going to run these PC Mark benchmarks, but I can't get those to run either. Well, we've got our Unigen benchmarks. Let's try that. Let's do 800 by 600 actually. Shaders, medium, leave reflections on, and run the demo. Yeah, let's actually full screen this. Oh, we can't. Never mind. I don't know what this thing is doing. I really don't. Oh no, I think it crashed. Damn it. Let's try again from the top. All right, we're just gonna set everything down to the minimum, full screen. There. Let's see if it'll run that. Oh, Jesus. The desktop looks so big at 640 by 480. Honestly, if this crashes again, we're just gonna skip the benchmarks and just go to real gameplay. Oh wait, it's actually doing something now. This is like a second loading screen for some reason. It's just going really, really slow. Come on, you can do it. You can do it. Even though I haven't had a whole lot of faith in you this entire video. Well, it hasn't crashed yet. I guess we'll just leave it until something happens. Oh, there we go. Oh my god, it's loading in all the assets like one by one. Yeah, it's pretty much exactly what I was expecting. We're only getting 1 FPS. Go figure. And this is at the absolute minimum settings too. Also, I don't think this is rendering correctly because the trees don't have color. Yeah, this is definitely not right. Everything is black. Okay, yeah, I think this thing has had enough. Come on, back to Windows. Well, that was a bust. I mean, at least we got some games to try out. So I got a variety of games that I want to check out, ranging from around late 90s to early 2000s up until like 2007-ish. Let's start with something simple like think tanks. Let's keep everything at the default, high details, 800 by 600, and see how she does. Oh no! Why is it so bad? I thought this was gonna be great. What the hell? What is going on? Oh dear lord. Yeah, this is completely unplayable. This is bad. Okay, nope, we gotta exit this. Stop! Maybe let's try a 640 by 480 and like, you know what? Actually, we'll put it all the way down to low. That made literally no difference. Yeah, why is this not working? That does not make it... Oh, we're having some like graphical glitches too. I'm starting to think that this is either a problem with the GPU dying or we got a driver issue. Or it just could be Windows Vista is trolling me. I don't know at this point. Well, if it didn't work with think tanks, I highly doubt it's going to work with Star Wars Galactic Battlegrounds, but we'll try it anyway. As if it'll load. I played the FMVs perfectly fine. Oh, Jesus! That actually scared me. I was not expecting that. So we'll keep it at high details, 800 by 600, and yeah, let's see how it does. Hey, you know what? That plays perfectly. Well, it's about time we have something that works properly on here. It only looks jittery because that's the way that these Age of Empire-esque games play. They are capped at like 30 FPS. But yeah, this works fine. I would totally play it like this. I played this game for many, many hours as a teen. I remember it running fairly well on the Dell Inspiron that I had, so hopefully that's the case here. Fingers crossed. Although if Think Tanks has anything to say, let's wait and see. Have any of you played the Fate remaster that came out recently? I've been playing it recently, and I like it for the most part. There's a few changes here and there that are a little awkward to get used to, and there are some bugs and glitches that need to be ironed out, but yeah, for the most part, it's a really faithful remaster. Or should I say, fateful remaster. Please dislike and unsubscribe immediately. Yeah, that's not looking great. Let's turn down the settings, actually. Let's try 800 by 600, why not? Nope, did not make any difference whatsoever. All right, let's turn everything down to low. Yeah, turning everything down to low is not making a difference whatsoever. Yeah, I'm not even going to show off some gameplay of this. This is way too laggy. Try an older game that will pretty much run on anything like Unreal Gold. Oh, oh. Why is it like jittery like that? That's weird. Like it keeps like jumping forward. Well, let's try to play it anyway. Let me change the controls because by default the controls are a little weird. And start. Oh no. It's really jittery in the gameplay too. Yeah, this is absolutely unplayable. Yeah, this is bad. No, we can't play this. Yeah. This is bad. Really low frame rate, and for some reason like the audio keeps like skipping. And also the audio is like completely like not synced up to the to what's happening. Yeah, this is absolutely broken. All right, one more thing because I am tired of dealing with this. Let's see if it can run Crysis, because why not? Even though I know it's definitely not going to. Yeah, I don't think this one's going to work either because it's just been sitting in a black screen for like the past 2 to 3 minutes. I think that's where we're going to have to call it quits here, unfortunately. I am fed up with this thing and I can't take anymore. Well, that's pretty much where we're going to end it. So, yeah, that was the Dell Inspiron 1521, one of the worst laptops I ever owned. The hardware itself is fairly usable. It sucks that it is bogged down by god awful Windows Vista. I do think a good majority of our problems would be solved if we were to install Service Pack 2 on here, because at that point, Windows Vista actually became, well, good after Service Pack 2. But no surprise, nobody cared because Windows 7 was on the way. So pretty much by that point, yeah, Windows Vista was pretty much done. Microsoft's reputation between 2007 and 2009 was pretty negative. And yeah, I can definitely see why. If I bought this laptop brand new in 2007 and it worked like this, I would have been so pissed. I honestly would have probably just downgraded to Windows XP. And that's pretty much exactly what most people did with their Windows Vista machines, especially on the business side. Most business-centric computers that came with Windows Vista at the time did have an option to downgrade to Windows XP. I gotta end this video. I am losing my sanity with this thing. So thank you for enjoying my suffering, and see you next time.